Here's some good news. WWE is scaling back live events. End of an era. Now, they've already been doing this. They are no longer the traveling circus that they used to be. Live events are pointless now. Back in the 80s, back in the 90s, they were crucial to WWE's success. In the 80s, Vince was taking WWE national. He was venturing into all those territories, taking his traveling group of fucking misfits from town to town, territory to territory, state to state, city to city, nationalizing WWE, putting them on cable television and just expanding. Then when they got rolling, that was their bread and butter. Their bread and butter was live event ticket sales, traveling the country, selling out these big arenas and collecting the ticket money. And that was still a big part of their business all through the 90s. I went to a ton of house shows in the Attitude Era. Those bitches would sell the fuck out, man. But as years have gone on and content consumption has changed and business has changed and revenue streams have changed, and they have found other ways to get paid for that stuff now. And they've been pulling in all of these billions. What the fuck do you need house shows for anymore? You don't need these. You don't need them. You know, sure, you can do some super shows. They'll still bring in 10,000 fans. But fuck, that's a drop in the bucket compared to the billions that, you know, you've got NBC Universal and Fox and Peacock and Warner Brothers Discovery and all these, you know, platforms throwing at pro wrestling. You don't really need house shows anymore, you know, and having no house shows has its problems because you can't sharpen your, you know, tools and hone your craft and get experience and mileage and that type of thing that can really help out, especially when you're younger. But when you're older, it's wear and tear on your body. It's unnecessary wear and tear. And think about how many catastrophic injuries we've seen at house shows. Remember Seth Rollins' big title win at WrestleMania 31? How'd that end? Tore his knee at a house show. Paige, a.k.a. Saraya, retired. Why? Got kicked in the back of the head at a house show. You guys can probably name a ton of other examples where people have gotten injured at live events. We've got a lot of bad injuries at live events. And a lot of times they're, you know, they can really screw up what kind of creative stuff you're doing if you have injuries there. So, you know, you run your big angles on TV, on Raw and SmackDown and pay-per-views, but then during the week, the talent is traveling and you got to sit there and hold your breath that none of these people tear an ACL or anything. So I'm happy that live events are scaled back just for the health of the talent, just that now I don't have to worry about Cody Rhodes blowing out an Achilles, you know, in buttfuck Iowa on a Thursday night house show, you know? So this is all really, really, I think, good and necessary for WWE going forward and how their production and their presentation has changed over the years. Now, it was a Goldman Sachs and Technology Conference this past Wednesday where Mark Shapiro kind of made this announcement about continuing to trim their, quote, marginally profitable, non-televised live events that Vince McMahon loved to run for so many years. So this is a big change. This is a big change in WWE's philosophy and business, and I think it's going to be for the better in the long term. Now, I think they can take advantage of having a lot less house shows. They can make the ones that they do super big deals. They can just do every live event a super show. That's what I would do. I would just do every house show that I do or live event that I do, some sort of a super show with all the talent to where you can sell out a big building and make it fun and actually make your live events fun. And I think the live events have gotten a lot better in the past, you know, few years. It's been a long time. I have not been to a house show since probably like 1999. It's been a long time since I've been to a house show. And in those days, a lot of times I would hit town, 2 or 3 towns in a row for house shows, and a lot of those shows would be largely the same. The wrestlers really just goofing off, having fun in there. No angles are shot, no title changes, just a night of fun. It's a night to take your kid, your 5-year-old who doesn't know the fucking difference between Raw or a live show or a house show, and take him to the show so he can see his favorites. So he can see Rhea Ripley. Well, she doesn't have all her makeup on. I wonder why, because it's a fucking house show. So those back in the day felt like a lot more just walked through. You know, nothing ever happened. The production was bad, dim lights. They just used the house speakers for the wrestling music. And I used to go to these shows when Stone Cold Steve Austin was on top. And when Stone Cold Steve Austin is on top and WWE doesn't bring in their own audio You have to rely on the audio of the arena. And I can't tell you how many entrances I saw of Stone Cold Steve Austin where it sounded like he had no music at all. All you heard was the fans. That's it. It was like a 1970s match where Austin just comes to the ring. You can't hear any of his theme song at all because the crowd overwhelms the house audio. So live events suck. They're a pain in the ass. They're a pain in the ass for the talent. They're pointless to pay a ticket for and go to. And I'm glad that they are scaling back. And that way, when you do make them and you do hold them, they can actually mean something. And it's still not going to make life super easy for the talent. They're still traveling their asses off. There's a lot more international shows now. So even with the scaling back of live events, I don't know how much it's really going to ease the travel and the schedule of the talent. It's probably going to ease it a little bit, but it's not like their workload's been cut in half or anything like that. This is just something that needs to be done for business because they don't make a whole lot of sense anymore.